What is up, guys, and welcome back to another F1 Esports Pro Series gameplay video. Today we're covering the Canadian Grand Prix of the Mclaren Shadow drivers, Dani Moreno and James Baldwin, the world's fastest gamer of 2019. Now, this is titled The Greatest Comeback in F1 Esports History. You'll see why in just a moment. But can we just take a moment to appreciate all those different setups for each track, for each weather condition? Wet into dry. I mean, next year it's going to be cloudy, light cloud, overcast, sunny. The list goes on. Anyway, yeah, as the title suggests, greatest comeback ever. The drivers are starting P16 and P17 in this race. And, yeah, we've got a mighty hole to dig ourselves out of. The weather forecast is set to be raining at the end of the Grand Prix, so that's also a consideration to take on board. But the guys are going to be starting on the medium, running long, and then if it rains, then we can switch straight onto the intermediate tire. So that is the plan. So here we go, getting ready for this race. I'm going to leave the links to both the drivers down in the description so you can check them out. And yeah, let's get underway with what I think is probably the drive of the season. 5 red lights, and we are underway for the Canadian Grand Prix in the F1 Esports Pro Series for 2020. And it's been a pretty good start for Dani Moreno there, scalping Cedric Tomei and Fabrizio Donoso around the outside of turn 1 before James just about ran into the back of his teammate. That would have been calamity right there. We go up the inside of Cedric Tomei as I finally spit my words out, and James finds himself up into P16. We run on board with Dani, who's putting the pressure on Fabrizio in the Renault at this point. But yeah, it's going to be awfully tough to salvage anything out of this race with the track position that we've got.
I'm not gonna attempt to pass the soft runners. There's no point.
Yeah, these are the best drivers in the world, and yeah, it's a miracle if you can find a few places. But you never know. We'll see what happens. But anyway, Dani said he wasn't going to overtake the soft compound tire runners, and literally 2 seconds later, he overtakes one. Esports drivers, eh? They're a different breed. Anyway, it's been a good start from the boys. Up 3 places for the whole team. 2 for Dani and 1 for James. But the job certainly isn't done there. As you can see, a bit of a Constantino effect there through turn 2. That ruins James's run through there and allows Enzo Benito to have a run around the outside. But James toughs it out and fights for that position to hold on. And in the end, secures P16 once again over the Ferrari driver. So, yeah, early battles, early track position, whatever you can cling on to is absolutely golden for your race later. This is a power track after all. DRS is going to be king to make sure you stay within touching distance of the lead group. To stay competitive is vital. As we cut back to James running into the hairpin, getting ever closer to the Racing Point driver.
Just to let you know, boys, I am here.
Thanks, Jeff. That is absolutely wonderful news. That is the voice of Nathan Tagg, who is one of the Mclaren Shadow team principals, team owner. He basically manages the guys' strategy and gives them the info they need over the course of the race. I think it'd be really cool if Nathan, Tobin, the team members, and the drivers did their own video on Mclaren Shadow.
Donoso 3 seconds already.
And gave their thoughts over some of these races that I'm commentating on, so that you guys can get an extra perspective and see what they're thinking, both from the driver's perspective and what they're thinking from a team management perspective as well. I think that'd be really sick. So I'll leave a link as well down to Mclaren Shadow's YouTube channel, and you guys can check that out. I mean, I've just thrown that on them. Let's see if they make it. But yeah, there's lots of content to be had over there. Some videos I've made for them as well, so go check them out. Anyway, back to this race, and We're doing okay.
Just a little bit of race information, boys. Just at the front, Tanitsa and Omnia cannot see each other. At the front, Tanitsa and Omnia cannot see each other.
Okay.
Wow, that could be crucial to know later. But people are already making stops on lap 6.
Who is on mediums in front? Who is on mediums?
Just Tanitsa, I believe.
Unfortunately, that information isn't fully correct because Jarno Opmeer is also on the mediums up the front. So it's going to be a fight between David Tanitsa, Jarno Opmeer, and Frederick Rasmussen. But Freddie is on the Ford strategy. He started on soft, is going to finish on medium compound tyres. Meanwhile, James just got overtaken by Enzo. He didn't put up too much of a fight there. I think the logic here is he's going to sit behind and save some ERS for the time being.
I don't think Enzo is faster than you, James.
Just going to build my ERS up for a couple of laps.
Oh, there you go. Look at me, guys. Old Tiametmarduk, retired league racer, coming up with the 200 IQ plays before they even happen. Definitely didn't know that James was already going to say that due to editing. Definitely not the case. Anyway, the majority, or pretty much all the soft compound tyre runners have made their stops. This is how things are looking or are shaping up for the medium compound tyre runners.
So I think we're on the right tyre here. I think we stick to plan A, use all of the soft for the rain.
Keep me updated on my pace compared to Jarno every lap.
So plan A is going ahead, that being stopping when we're supposed to and making the most of the soft compound tyre before it rains and just dealing with it. That's the right strategy for the time being. But they can always alter that in case the rain comes a little bit earlier. But just looking at the cloud formations, it doesn't look like it's overly threatening just yet. So I think a stop for softs before inters is inevitable.
We're gaining by about a 10th a lap currently, Danny.
Which is absolutely awesome to see. To be gaining time on the F1 Esports World Champion of this year is no mean feat.
I'm gonna save a bit of ERS.
And again,
for
more
the traffic after.
Foresight for Danny, saving his ERS because he's going to need it once he makes his stop. The soft compound tyre runners are going to have a massive undercut on him, so they're going to emerge a few seconds up the road. But once Danny does get onto his soft, same too with James, the delta is going to be crazy. Like, these guys are going to be so much faster than the people who stopped early. Canada is pretty tough on the rear tyres, so it's definitely something to watch out for.
Same again that lap, Danny. Pace is very good.
Distance to either of the racing points?
It's around 13 seconds, Danny.
I'm going to box this lap.
13 seconds.
Great. Yeah, the distance with Jarno has dropped to 5.8. I'm catching.
Okay, so now we get into the business end of this race. James is coming in for his one and only stop onto the soft compound tyres, and this is when we can unleash the pace for the rest of the Grand Prix. Danny's going to be coming in maybe on the next lap or the lap after, but now James can gun for a faster start to charge through the field, and then Danny will be able to do the same, but on even fresher tyres and further up the field. He rejoins in P18. P18 right now. So worse than his starting position. However, he's got it all ahead of him now. He has got the advantage for the rest of this race.
I'm gonna beat this lap.
Copy. So Tanitsa boxed. Jarno stayed out.
So Jarno, it looks like, is going for the even greater overcut strategy, trying to utilize even better pace on the softs and really ramp through the field later on. But Danny is now in, and it'll be interesting to see what track position he can get after coming out of the pit lane. It looks like it's going to be pretty shocking, just like James. P15. James moves himself up into P16 as other medium compound runners make their stop. But yeah, this is the business end. This is where you earn the big bucks in F1 Esports. You prove your worth here with your racecraft, and you know, having the pace, catching is one thing, overtaking is another, especially in DRS trains, which a lot of these cars are entrenched in. So you've got to utilize the extra grip that you've got on the softer compounded tire right now. Otherwise, sitting behind another driver, you're just wasting performance. So Dani goes for the move straight away up the inside of Lucas Blakely. That moves himself up in a P14. That's a safe move. You wouldn't normally do that if it was a 1v1 battle, because Lucas would get DRS and slipstream straight back. But thankfully, Dani has the protection of Fabrizio Donoso up ahead. He gets the slipstream and DRS off of him. And Fabrizio doesn't get a great exit out of the last chicane. That's a golden opportunity for Dani to take his spot as well. 2 overtakes in what is only a matter of 2 corners. And now he's on the fringes of the points, but he's aiming for a lot more than that. There's a big train of cars just up the road. Strict corner cutting rules, still 9 laps to go. There's penalties, there's incidents, there's crashes, there's a whole manner of different things which can unfold, which could give him the edge over other people, as Simon Weigang, I think, retires from the race, which is unfortunate. We're now down to 19 runners. But here we go. Again, similar move to last lap. Dani makes the move on the other Racing Point driver at the hairpin and is now up in the points now in the F1 Esports Pro Series. I know we're 10 minutes into the video, but it's worth mentioning that this is esports. These are the best drivers in the world. So being able to make up any place, just even being here, is quite the achievement. But yeah, these guys show their worth race in, race out. It really is awesome to see the best in the world go at it in equal machinery. Something in which you don't exactly get to see in F1. But that's the beauty of sim racing. Anyway, James is making his way up the order. He got past Lucas Blakely, I believe, and is around the likes of Fabrizio Donoso. Dani Moreno gets ahead of Joni Tormala and is now in P9.
Come on, let's fucking get them.
Come on, boys, you're on it. Let's go.
Yeah, things are looking pretty good at this stage. Still a long way to go and a lot of positions still yet to make up. The gap to the cars ahead for Dani is 1.7 seconds. That's Michael Romanidis in the Williams. He's tucked under the rear wing of Manuel Biancalila in the Alpha Tauri. We cut back to James, and he is now making the move on the Renault driver for P12. So James is creeping his way up the order and is looking pretty good for some points. But Dani, I've got to say, Dani is looking really good here. Maybe top 5. Look at all those cars just up the road. That's pretty much for the race win. All those cars, it's insane. We see this is a move for Jarno Opmeer, who just came out of the pit lane. So Jarno did a massive, massive overcut, stretching his mediums, and now his advantage is going to be sickening. It's going to be unfair, to be honest. But that is the consistency of Jarno Opmeer. He's bought himself this opportunity to challenge for the race win again. He's going to try and catch up to the likes of David Tanitsa and also Frederick Rasmussen, who is leading the race in the Red Bull at this stage. 6 laps to go, and this is the fight. It extends all the way up to P2, this train, and then Freddie is just a few seconds up the road from P2, which is insane. You can see Dani trying to have a go at Dani Berezne in the Alfa Romeo, but nothing quite doing there. Like I said, it's very hard to make an impact in big DRS trains like this. But again, Dani really strong through the middle sector. He's going to make another overtake down into the hairpin, and that's a scalp for P8. It's not easy to overtake Dani Berezne, who is a multiple race winner in the F1 Esports Pro Series, but he makes pretty light work of him there and can now set his sights after the top 7. So Dani Berezne maybe struggling on his mediums. I'm not sure if he went for a super undercut or something, but he seems to be falling his way back down the order. But yeah, makes the move stick, and he's still within the DRS and the slipstream of the cars ahead, so he can pretty much go straight on the attack for the next couple of guys, and we'll see how that goes. As we run through the middle sector now, you can see the difference of grip between the soft and the medium. The soft getting on a little bit in terms of pace, but I'd still say this is the tyre to be on, despite the amount of distance ran on it so far in the slipstream and DRS. Dani decides to go up and overtake really late in the piece and surprise Michael Romanidis and gets himself up in a P7. 6 points against his name at this current stage. And what's at stake for the F1 Esports Pro Series, by the way, is if you win the Constructors, you win 750 grand, which is quite a bit of money. So, yeah, it's certainly high stakes. As you can see in the slipstream again of the Alpha Tauri, goes slightly defensive, but Dani thinks better of it. The final chicane isn't really an overtaking zone. Running side by side through there is absolutely silly. You lose way too much time. Dani's thinking about the long game. He wants, not only is he thinking about getting ahead of the Alpha Tauri driver, he's already thinking ahead to getting Marcel Kiefer. The guys inside the top 5, top 4, maybe even a podium if he's lucky. So squabbling with an Alpha Tauri at this point would be silly.
Rain 15 minutes.
As it looks like the rain is not going to hit in time for the end of the race, at least to switch anyone onto the intermediate. Overtake is done. P6.
Come on, let's fucking go.
Just a little bit of race information, boys. Just at the front, Tanitsa and Omnia cannot see each other. At the front, Tanitsa and Omnia cannot see each other.
So I told you that information was going to be handy later, and here we go. Get the popcorn ready, because here is David Tanitsa versus Jarno Opmeer. This is for P2, the Canadian Grand Prix. Unfortunately, David gets the big squeeze, and Jarno had absolutely no idea he was there. Look at the reaction from David, or lack of. Man's just had P2 glitched away from him. I would be chucking my rig out the window if that was me.
Tonita has no front wing.
He has no front wing indeed, and Dani would have absolutely no idea what would have happened, but he just knows that another position is up for grabs. David runs wide. He actually gives up the place.
Come on!
Come on, Dani, let's go!
So P5 for the McLaren driver as the F1 Esports champion of 2019 goes plundering down the order.
Come on, let's get Marcel.
And fair play to David as well for pulling out of the way, not interfering with anyone else's race. It was very selfless from him there. We cut back to the onboard of James Baldwin. He's still working away at the top 10 runners, just one place away from the points. And with penalties for a few drivers in the pack, anything is possible. I think Joni Turmla has a 3-second time penalty at this stage.
I have no tires.
And yeah, there we go. We're at the back end of the race now. And I think Dani has seen the best of his tires at this stage. You can see James looking for an opportunity up the inside of Daniele Haddad at the hairpin. And that opens the door once again to Enzo Benito, the opportunist in this race. Enzo has slightly fresher soft compound tires. He gets through again. And it looks like it's going to be all to do for James in the final couple of laps to get the places back. But you can see Enzo making a move on Daniele around the outside of the hairpin. No space was given, and they both end up coming out worse for wear. That promotes James up into the points now for the first time in this race. Heading on to the last one now, and it's looking unlikely that Dani can gain any further places from P5, but never say never. I mean, we saw just what happened a few laps ago with Jarno and David. There could be penalties going any which way. The stewards could have their say. But with that said, P16 and P17 to P5 and P9 respectively is the comeback of F1 Esports history.
Let's fucking go! Come on! Let's fucking go! Yes! Come on! Yes! Come
Boys, what a pair of drives that was!
Boys.
Come on!
What a pair of drives! Come on! Yes! What
That's
a
better.
fucking
That's
race.
better. That's better.
Come on!
That's where we deserve to be, boys. Fucking incredible
Yes.
stuff, really.
Boys.
Fucking incredible stuff, really.
What a
better.
fucking race! Come on! Yes!
Yes.
Wow! From P16 and P17 on the grid. Let's go!
What a mate.
Let's go!
Absolutely amazing stuff right there. P16 and P17 on the grid. In total for the team, that's 19 spots gained as a team in the race. That's just unheard of. Unheard of in what is such a short race. 35% race, best drivers in the world, equal machinery. It's just absolutely mind-boggling. Massive, massive congrats to Dani and James for pulling that one off. Absolutely unbelievable. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you smash a like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new to see plenty more racing game content. So proud of the guys at McLaren. We're just a new team. There's the crash between Jarno and David. David's on board, by the way. Just squeezed. So David could actually see Jarno, but Jarno couldn't see David. And there's the actual reaction. And rightly so. I'd be furious. It's good to highlight that, actually, because hopefully things like this can be avoided in the future. Online still needs a lot of work for the F1 games. And these issues propping up in F1 Esports, they shouldn't be swept under the rug. They should be showcased for everyone to see. Because we need a better F1 game. We need a better online experience. Online needs a total overhaul. Not just with stability, but features as well. We need a lot more better features for spectating, for viewing. But let's not end on a sour note. Back to the guys at McLaren. Amazing job. This is their first season together. This is actually the second event we did as a team. The second event. The second event of races. So round 5 of the championship. And both of those guys as rookies coming away with that kind of result is insane. I'm so looking forward to 2021, the F1 Esports Series. I think both the guys are going to go from strength to strength. And that's going to be amazing. So join us on that journey. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like I said, check out all the links in the description. Got Discord link there as well. Until then, until the next video, I'll see you next time.
Jarno Opmeer wins again in the Pro Series.
Oh yeah, I'm so happy. Right, celebration. Twitter. Compose new tweet.